Today I have a call with a gentleman from India who has some questions about his drop shipping e-commerce store. Apparently he has a compatriot, a friend in the US who might help him get everything set up, and he has questions for me about whether or not he should do that and how he should do it. So, without further ado, let's get to the call.
Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up. Haven't done my taxes, I'm too.
Thanks for showing up. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from India.
India, awesome.
Yeah. So, shall we start?
Yeah, of course. I guess normally how we start, as you probably know, is you can tell me a little bit about your business and what you're doing, and then we can get to some of your questions. I'll probably have some questions too.
Perfect. So, I'm dropshipping, and I started dropshipping around. It's been 6 months now, but like I've really started to build a brand since a month, and I've done certain amount of sales from India. I registered a sole proprietorship firm in India, and I did some sales like around $25,000 in sales in 2 weeks. But I had to stop, unfortunately, because the according to Indian like tax tax reforms for my business, it was a problem for me to get the GST back, which I was paying to Facebook ads. So they charge 18% on Facebook ads in India. So I was not getting it back because I was not selling in India. And so that was the problem. So what I had to do is, and yeah, there was one more problem. Stripe is in India, and I was using Stripe, and Stripe was rejecting 30% of my payments that were coming from the US, because I think maybe they're suspecting that it's going out of US. Some banks, I did my research online and I found out that some banks reject the payments and some don't. So 30% of them in total were getting rejected. So I instantly had to stop my business, and I have to
you an 18% handicap on Facebook, and then also 20% handicap on your sales. To make money, you have to be incredible, because it's a huge handicap. But that's why you see so many of your compatriots and other people doing e-commerce, especially when selling in the US, using US companies. And that's for really business, any kind of business everywhere, whatever you're doing, using US companies is just easier because of so much less regulations, and there's so much less going on. You can just receive your money and spend it how you want without any of these excess taxes that happen in other countries.
Exactly. That's why US is, kind of the best economy, because they're business friendly.
Yeah, it's very business friendly. There's other countries like that too. It's just I find it so much easier in terms of the bureaucracy. You can just open a business, set it up, and just start operating, and then don't have to do anything for a year in terms of reporting.
That's true. So yeah, this was the situation for me until now, and so I decided to register my US LLC. So that's what I'm still figuring out. It's been 2 weeks. I'm still kind of doing my research and talking to people.
Oh, you have a store that was doing 25,000 in sales in 2 weeks, which on drop shipping it's usually pretty good margins depending on your ad spend. But you're still, we should get started right away. I mean, there's no reason to keep waiting. You can do research forever and ever, because there's a lot of information out there, and obviously you found me, so you can see I'm a little bit of a straight shooter when it comes to this stuff. There's just so much information out there, but we can definitely get this company open for you pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's true. But I have currently come to a point where, kind of my research is done now, and I am into a stage where I just need to start. So I'm actually looking to start my LLC, maybe like file my LLC maybe tomorrow or day after. That's the maximum time I need now. So I had few questions. I'm looking to kind of include one of my US friends out there, and hire him as a manager, so that I get the bank account opened real easy, and I don't have to worry about this Mercury and transfer via online banks, and I can get them. So I was also looking like which is the best option for me to go ahead. Like, should I really hire him as a manager and get started with him, or should I actually wait for 4 weeks to get my EIN and then open a bank account with Mercury? That's a long process.
It probably, I'm starting to get EINs now, so it probably won't take 4 weeks. But probably, I think they're back to getting the EINs done. So it might not take 4 whole weeks now. If you have a partner or a manager in the U.S. who's doing stuff for you, then it could be looked at like you're doing business in the U.S. You could pay tax here, so there's a big risk to doing that. That's if you use an LLC. If you use a corporation, then you can have a U.S. director and you can do whatever you want, and everything's a little bit easier because you already are under the it's already like presupposed that you're paying taxes in the U.S. and you have to file annual tax returns. So it's generally easier to do business with a corporation. It's less risky for you because it's a little bit more clear as to how everything works. What you would then do to send money back to India, if you want it, is to pay yourself like management fees or send pay your Indian company fees, marketing fees, whatever you want, so that you can get the money back there as an expense, and then you could effectively make your U.S. tax expense zero in using a corporation.
Okay, so like what you mean to say is if I open a corporation, then it'll be more beneficial for me?
It's not that easy. If you open a corporation and manage it in a certain way, then you can still pay no taxes. And using a corporation is generally easier in terms of registering for different U.S. softwares and U.S. things because it's a U.S. person and it pays taxes here.
Okay. Okay. So I'm still, kind of understanding on how does this relate to like my manager situation with the LLC. And so is it better kind of to open a corporation if I'm doing this? I'm hiring my friend as a manager to get the bank account. Is it like?
Yes, if you have U.S. employees and you have managers that are in the U.S., it's less risky to use a corporation. But
Okay.
but you have to do additional planning. There's more work to having a corporation, a little bit more, but there's other benefits of that. It's a U.S. person, everything moves faster, and your friend can help you open an account as a director.
Okay. So I was basically hiring my friend as a manager because he has this SSN, and which will help me to open, because as you know, like if you want to open a bank account in the US, so if you hire a manager and he's present over there, so you can open a bank account
Well, it's not.
in a
It would have
day
to
or
be.
in an hour
It would have to
with
be a
the
director.
EIN.
It would have to be a director. It can't just be like a manager. Generally, it has to be like a secretary or a director or someone, some kind of consent. And it's for an LLC that has one owner. For him to open a bank account, and I do this all the time, he has to tell the bank that he's the owner of the LLC. So there's a lot of risk for him because he could fall on the hook for all of these taxes because he's using his social security number, and he lives in the U.S. He's a U.S. person. He could be on the hook for all the income taxes and everything because he's using his social there. So that's the risk for him. There's more risk for him than for you. Obviously, you just take your money, you're in India, and you make your profits, and then you send it to India, and you're done. He's the one that can be left on the hook. And then also, if you have an LLC, the IRS could say that you're doing business in the U.S. and you should be paying taxes there. So if you're going to do an LLC, you can open everything quickly, and with and that's what our service is. We open everything quickly and fast like that. The one thing is, you're right, it's harder to have a U.S. bank account, but you can't do that with an LLC anyways, because he would be telling the bank that he's the owner of the account. And it would be his account.
Yeah. So what I found out is I had a chat with Chase, one of the banks in the US, and they said there's two situations to go with it. One is if you have a member managed LLC. So the US member needs to own minimum 10%, according to Chase, but Bank of America says 25%. So it's different for different banks. And the second situation is if you have a manager managed LLC, so the manager has to be there. So
Yeah, but that means that you have a partner in the LLC, manager. Like what the bank needs to know your client. Like I said, I have I have an anti-money laundering license, and I'm at Chase Bank downstairs all the time. If you have someone opening a bank account for an LLC, they either have to be a partner of the LLC or the owner of the LLC. And if you do it this way and you open the account this way, it's not going to be your account. It's going to be this other person's account. They're going to do whatever they want with the account. And also, from a tax perspective, you have someone who's making managerial decisions on behalf of and entering into agreements like opening bank accounts on behalf of your LLC. So you would be doing business in the United States and subject to income tax on the profits you make from your U.S. business, because you have a director working in the U.S. on your behalf, because he's opening accounts and he's entering into contracts, like opening bank accounts.
Okay. Got it. So what I was trying to work with this situation is, like, I was trying to open a bank account currently, and then I was planning to fly to US maybe when this lockdown opens, and then I open maybe a new bank account or get this figured out, like just, kind of do the formalities to maybe get him off the LLC. That would
If
be
you
a more
wanted to,
complicated situation maybe.
yeah, but you have to do. It's all stuff that you have to do the right way. I mean, it's complicated to figure
Yeah.
out what you're doing and then to do it the right way.
It's better to wait 3 weeks and open up account with Mercury or maybe the online banks for now,
Yeah,
and
use online
then get
banks.
started with that.
I have clients doing big businesses with operating through online banks.
Okay. So there's one thing, like these online banks don't offer credit cards. So I was like, if you can get that. So
They offer
yeah,
debit cards.
yeah, they have debit cards. Okay,
And
cool.
if you don't have it, do you have an ITIN in the U.S.?
No.
Yeah, so Chase won't give you a credit card. Bank of America will give you a $500 prepaid credit card. But most banks, it's hard to get credit cards. You can I can send you a link to try and open an Amex. They give out credit cards, but they have to kind of verify your credit locally.
Okay. Perfect. So, so another question was. So does it like affect my taxes if I have an employee in the first year? Because I see this question coming up when I am going to register an LLC. Like, will you have employees in the first year? So how does it affect my taxes, or do I have to pay more taxes, or maybe pay taxes to the US and not pay taxes when I don't have any employees in the first year?
Employees where?
In the US?
You can't have any employees in the U.S. if you're going to use an LLC.
Okay, I can't have any employees in the US.
No, you cannot have any employees in the U.S. if you're using an LLC, because then you're doing business in the U.S. and you pay taxes in the U.S. If you want to pay taxes in the U.S., it's probably better to use a corporation.
Oh, okay.
But these are all there's a lot of specifics to this. It's like everything's a little nuanced, and whatever decision you make can be right, but you have to do it. You have to operate it the right way.
Got it. So actually, I had this in mind that I'll have to pay taxes in the US, and I was kind of ready for this, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not.
I mean, it makes it more complicated. If you get credit for what you pay, if you get a credit in India for the taxes you pay in the U.S., then it doesn't matter as much. It makes it a little more complicated as to where you should report whichever income. Generally, it would be easier if you either don't use an LLC and just don't hire any U.S. people, or have an LLC and a corporation, and then use them in conjunction so that you can protect that a little bit. Maybe you benefit from having a foreign corporation own your LLC. It all depends. You have to do. You have to talk to your local advisor and whatever advisor you choose to work with in the U.S. to determine what's going to be the best for you.
Okay, so I'm selling to I'll be selling in the United States, so I'll have to kind of start collecting taxes after some time.
Sales
So will
taxes.
that, yeah. So is that possible to sell in the United States and not pay the normal taxes like income tax?
Yes. Income
Okay,
taxes, if you're not doing business in the US, then you don't have to pay income taxes. But sales taxes are a new thing that the states are kind of imposing based on delivery address. So if you're delivering products to people in a state, then the state's going to eventually want their sales taxes.
so they're kind of different situations and
They're
they work
different taxes.
differently.
Yeah,
They're different.
you have that tax on the Facebook income or the Facebook ad spend in India, and you also have income tax. It's just the different taxes. There's like hundreds of different taxes.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So my next question was. Yes, I think my all my questions were related to this member situation. Most of my questions were related to the member situation. But what I'm seeing now is I have some different uh, issue to decide now. Like, should I go with should I be paying taxes in the US or should I be bringing back money in India? So I would like to know like if I'm just opening an LLC in India, oh sorry, in the US, and I'm bringing back money to India, maybe like a little money because I don't really need a lot of money here, and I would invest more in my business there. So how do we work with that, and how do I transfer my money to India? And I have a firm in India too. It's a sole proprietorship firm. So
So how do you transfer money to India?
yeah,
You could use a wire transfer. That works.
okay, okay. Wire transfer as in like transfer wire, the companies like that.
No, I mean like you go to the bank and you put the account information for your Indian bank account. You send a wire. I send
Ah,
wires to India. I get paid from
okay,
India.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm aware of, but like I was trying to understand, is there a certain amount of restriction of transactions I can do to India or something like that?
No, not really. I mean,
Not really. Huh?
if it has a business purpose and everything, you just tell the bank what it's for.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So I'll have to file my taxes back in India, and I can open the LLC in the US.
Yeah, generally you have
That
to
would
file
be
taxes in India because you are an Indian resident.
yeah, yeah. Perfect, perfect. Got it. Yeah, actually, it's very beneficial, kind of have this chat with you because I was in a totally different zone and I might have filed my LLC and just, kind of I didn't even know that I had to do my taxes in India. And
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I mean, if you use a corporation, you wouldn't have to report anything in India. But if you use a LLC, you do. So, that's the benefit of having a tax advisor in the country where you're doing business. And that's where I try and help people. Right now, I'm doing these calls for free because I need to add content for my channel, and I get clients from the channel. And a lot of people like you end up deciding to work with me anyways. So that's why I do these calls and I like to help out. So I'm happy it was helpful. As your business grows, definitely consider investing in knowledgeable U.S. advisors to do your tax forms and things like that.
no, actually, that's very helpful of you to kind of do these free calls and helping new entrepreneurs like us to figure out things because that's we don't have that kind of kind of money to initially invest in these calls because our questions are also not that valuable and it's kind of like that. So,
Well,
but
well,
yeah,
the
it's
thing
very
is, the
helpful of
thing
you.
is that these questions, and I get them over and over. There's no
Yeah,
good, clear answer. They're complicated. They're nuanced, and there's so much bad information online. So that's why there's always issues because of those things. So if you want good advice, you have to find the right people and pay for it. And luckily, in my situation, I'm doing it for free right now.
that's very thankful of you. Seriously. Okay, perfect. So uh, I still have to kind of figure out if I should go with the corporation or the LLC because should I be paying taxes or not? So I don't have a problem in paying taxes, but what I'm looking for right now is obviously just to start as soon as possible. And then maybe I can switch my LLC to the corporation when I feel like I have to hire some employees and I really need to go big in numbers, or maybe just expand. Maybe that can be the second phase.
Sure. Yeah, you can do that,
That
or you can have both. You have two companies. You know, when you're
deal.
doing you know, $200,000 of sales a month, and you have some extra money, the cost is negligible for having these extra companies, and it provides so much extra support, and you know, you have backups in case. Because when you're doing drop shipping, accounts get closed all the time. You have chargebacks. There's a lot of churn. I've done drop shipping. There's a lot of like tech issues. Something always happens. So having
Mhm.
backup accounts and having backup processors and having different ways to pay yourself it's very helpful.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So, so how much time will it take currently to kind of open my LLC now? And which state should I go for? Like if I choose to?
The state doesn't really matter. Most we usually use Delaware, and it doesn't take that long. It should be pretty quick. Um,
Okay, perfect.
well,
And
I have another call that I'm actually late for because I was late for your call, but
sure, sure.
I have to go. But thank you so much for your time, Keshav, and I wish you the best of luck. And when your business starts really scaling, call me back, and we'll work together.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, James. Thank you for the call. It really means a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to help. Okay, bye.
Uh, uh,
So that call went really well. I think we learned a lot about um, what it means to have an agent in the U.S. and to have a friend open your bank account and the risks associated there, because it's risky for your friend and it's also risky for you. You could get pulled into the U.S. tax system. So if you thought this video was helpful, please, it helps a lot if you can click that the subscribe button is helpful, but the thumbs up button, because it helps the algorithm. And if you want to have a call with me yourself, this should be in the link. There should be in the description. There should be a link for that, so you can go ahead and do that. And thanks again for watching, and appreciate the support. Until next time, see you there.